Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show. Today, Jenna, Pamela, and I are talking about The Challenge, Season 38, Episode 5, Get Rich or Ride or Die Trying.
This was one that they definitely had in their back pocket if they were to ever need a miscellaneous episode
Throw it
to
up.
be titled.
Yeah, anywhere.
They were like, oh shit, like we're not really thinking of anything that specifically matches this episode. What's our like random user fits all? Like one size fits all for this episode. Oh, get rich or ride or die trying. Duh.
It's so weird though, because it doesn't even really fit at all, except that if they win the show, they'll get rich. It's like there wasn't a money competition or a get rich. There was nothing involved.
Well, I mean, technically Burger King sponsored it, so technically they got $10,000 from Get Rich or Ride or Die Trying for this episode, but whatever.
I liked the Burger King. It felt so nice and throwbacky to me when it's like, so it's going to give you dinner if you win this. Yeah, that was fun.
Pam, to your point, I felt like this entire episode was very vintage Challenge. I loved this whole episode. First, let me say, the emo party, the theme night party, and everybody going so in to the theme was so nostalgic. Also, I love an emo theme. I loved emo music growing up. I'm going to emo night in Asbury in a few weeks. It's going to be awesome.
Who's playing?
So I loved not only the theme night, but it just felt like the way that they were getting into it, the way that they were writing a song, the hair, the makeup felt so nostalgic. The challenge of the day was great. Everything. I just loved this whole episode.
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode too. I have a conspiracy that Jordan's faking the hand thing and that he's like pulls out a fully functional hand. Like, how the hell is Jordan doing all that? Like, how do you row? You're gripping.
He said he had to figure it out. I mean, he apparently did well enough.
Like, there's nothing that he can't do to the point where it's like, is he putting us on? Are we being
Honestly, shout out Pam. I'm so happy that you're back because only you could come up with a conspiracy theory that you think Jordan was actually, he's given himself this fake disability his whole life just so that he can have a real hand to use if he should ever need it.
Well, he wants to be more impressive. It's like, my name is Inigo Montoya. Prepare to die. You killed my father. And then he's like, I've got a secret though.
Do you know what movie she's quoting right now, Jenna?
I would think it's Lord of the Rings.
No. Oh, it's The Princess Bride. He's a sword.
She went old school on you, Jenna. I was like, she's not. What is she? She's not going to know who that guy is. But all right.
Scary Movie 2. It's Scary Movie 2.
No,
the guy's like, take my strong hand. I hate that part, honestly. I really, really despise that part of the movie.
I would like, though, Jordan at one finale to be like, but I have a secret. Ha! I am not like
that would be crazy.
You guys
be next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved this episode as well. The first whole part, I was like, okay, they're going old school challenge. They're taking a lot of time to make up this whole emo section thing of the show. No club tonight, though. Am I crazy? There was no club, right? They didn't do a club scene.
You can't. Can you bring a mosh pit to a club? Can you bring?
No. I just mean later in the show there was no club scene.
I think I was very happy with them mixing up the format to jump into a theme night party. Who do you guys think had the best emo outfit? Devin. Hands down, right? Yeah. I laughed out loud when I saw him sitting in the corner of the house, back against the wall with his emo hair and makeup. I was like, that is perfect.
Well, he had the funniest line of that night too, where he's like, all right, if I'm forced to go, I guess I'll be there. But like, he didn't want to go to the emo party. That was because he's so emo. That was pretty good.
My favorite line was Tori's, no one understands me. Such a classic, like, kid in 7th grade who has a totally fine, great life.
Oh yeah.
But maybe his dad was kind of mean to him for 5 minutes, so now no one understands him. Door slams.
Ladies, I have to ask you, is emo still a thing? If we went to a high school, which would be inappropriate, I guess, in a way, if we just showed up there and went inside, but would there be emo kids inside said high school? I wonder.
Well,
I don't know if it's still a thing.
The 90s is back in full effect. Like, it has come full circle. I went to visit my nephew in college. He goes to school in San Diego. And it was so tripping me out because everyone looked exactly the way they looked when I was in college. Like, that style is exactly back. Like the like
I recently
everything.
I recently saw a girl because I was working an event for photography, and there was younger girls there and boys, and one of the girls was wearing bell-bottom pants, which was came back from the 70s at the 90s. But I'm talking like the flare. I mean, it was flared out. Like I was like, oh my God, that was my junior high and high school experience.
And like the low rider punk, like the ring tees and like low rider pants, a lot more skin than we wore in the 90s in mine. Like we wore like giant flannels and giant pants.
I don't know.
Like tube tops and low riders, but like big pants.
No back pockets. I saw no back pockets again recently. I'm like, well, where do you put stuff? But whatever. No back pockets was like, wow, that is my high school again, all over again.
Yeah. So it's really trippy. Yeah. So I was like, I feel like I'm in college, but like this is my nephew. It's a very strange feeling, but it has gone full cycle around. So I think to the point is, I think emo is probably back then too. I mean, there's always going to be a version of emo kids, whatever they are. But
I think the true emo is the millennial generation. Because it's all on TikTok too, and it's like, it was never a phase, Mom. But now it's just a little bit more back in the forefront. Yeah.
Well, it's like they all those in California, Jenna. We're constantly being bombarded with the prop commercials.
Oh my God.
And there's something about banning the flavored vapies or whatever. And I'm like, kids of every generation are going to find a way to get nicotine. Just like let it be. It doesn't matter if you flavor it vanilla or like whatever. And I quit smoking a couple of years ago. And every so often I'm like, I like my cotton candy vape once in a while. Like, don't take it away from me. I'm a grown ass adult. Can't I get that? Like, it's better than a banana puff. Like,
don't ruin this for all of us.
Yeah, don't make it. What's it going to be? Cigarette flavor? Like,
I would like my cherry vape just one night a week. Okay, I get one night to have to myself, and these kids ruined it because they're addicted.
But every generation, I'm like, it's not because of the banana flavors or whatever. I'm like, every teenagers will find a way to smoke. They just will.
But I feel like they're not saying it's smoking. Vaping has a different connotation where it's not bad for it's not that bad. We're just flavors in the mouth. But in theory, if it has nicotine in it, and I think more kids are into, like in the 90s growing up, like smoking was starting to become like the not cool thing to do. In the 80s, whatever. But I'm talking in the 90s to 2000s, people were like, okay, it's bad for you. It's not the best smell. So it's like coming off it. But now vaping is like, well, it's good smells. And you don't smell bad. You actually smell good now, but it's still nicotine. But the kids don't realize that. And yeah, I think if more kids are doing that than
funny
smoking.
Though, because you don't have to exit the room to go outside to have a cigarette break. Like I'll be at a wedding and the person sitting next to me is just like,
I know.
Well, the other thing is you can't tell if those things. I've had a friend that it was pot, and I thought it was just a thing, and took a huge and was like, the fuck, like now.
Yeah.
So the other thing, I'm like, wait a second, did I just take
vaping is like just a special lane of its own that people try to like hide it by going into their armpit just to take it in, but then they're like blowing their smoke out and it's reverberating everywhere.
I have people just blow it right in my face when I'm at events. They just go right in the air, right where I'm at. I'm like,
I mean, it's not anything really, so it doesn't. I don't really.
I don't like to know. Like, I know people are breathing on you at all times, but you're like purposely blowing air into my face, and it's your breath.
Like, you don't want anything.
And it's just like, I know I'm grandpa yelling from the porch right now, but like, and please comment below how old Dan is acting right now. I mean, but I still don't want your breath in my face. Like, I want my fiance's breath in my face. That's fine. But anybody else, like, let's like separate our breaths as much as we can here.
In ancient times of mafias, that's a sign of disrespect. You might get killed for doing that.
Yeah,
there you go.
In someone's face.
I'll take it as disrespect so I can be less like a grandpa on the porch right now. I want to say, ladies. Oh, sorry.
Should we talk about the challenge?
I'm trying to. I was going for it right there.
Last thing, really quick, because they make you go out, at least in California, like step outside if you're going to vape. Because I don't do it.
Not where I'm at in California, in LA.
No, where I am, and I'm like, well, what is the point? Like they make you to step outside like you're smoking.
But people are sneaking it, Pamela. They just do it in a big crowd in a club. They'll just do it, and no repercussions for that. I wanted to mention there was also a pool party tonight. And I also wanted to mention that some of these challengers are getting a bit old, considering that Mariah's mother had to let her know how bad Bananas was. I was like, oh, so Bananas is the same age as your mother, basically, or she watched Bananas growing up. I was like, man, Bananas is getting old when he's flirting with a 20-year-old and he's 40-something, and the mother has to warn the daughter about said Bananas. That's crazy.
I love it though.
Hilarious.
Mama knew. Mama probably sniffed out that maybe this is the type of man that Mariah could be attracted to. So she said, just look out for that sneaky guy. So I appreciate the mom, looking out for Mariah.
Like, I'll look up how old Mariah is just for fun while we keep talking here.
She's probably it is funny, and I do feel almost not bad, but like I don't feel old. And but like it's the same. It's a weird mind fuck when you're like 40 and with 20-year-olds that you feel like are your peers and they're not.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Because in that situation they are. It's also great because when I used to watch the show, kind of maybe in its like glowing era, like I'm thinking about the fresh meat that Evelyn was introduced to us. I'm pretty sure she was like 18 or 19. And I remember looking at her thinking like easily 25.
She's an adult, yeah.
The age gap, but the age gap as well was less back then because they had just made up all these shows, so they couldn't they're not just going to bring in a random 40-year-old. Think about that, bringing a random 40-year-old when all 20-year-olds back in the early 2000s when this show was like in its like heyday. Everyone was 25 because that was the pool of people they were pulling from.
And everybody's a little bit older now. Like they don't have 19-year-old, 20-year-olds on the challenge.
Well, they also want the alcohol thing. Like, I guess if you're filming in Mexico, technically it can be 18, right? I mean, you're legal drink. What's the legal drinking age in other places is 18 though, just saying.
Right.
But anyways,
if you're out of the country, it's 18. Yeah.
Right. Mariah is 26. I looked it up.
She is 26. Yeah, that's a lot older than
40, maybe 39. Maybe he's right. He's probably
he's solidly in his 40s at this point. Like not
solid 40s.
No, right now, no, he's 40 on the dot. He's 40 on the dot.
Yeah.
So he's solidly 40.
He's solidly 40, which means there is a 13.
Been nearing 40 for quite a.
He's been giving 40 for quite some time now.
Yes. So now I think he's there. He's
because let's be honest, in terms of endurance, I don't know if this is necessarily true because there's Tom Brady, there's Megan Rapinoe, Abby Wambach retired like in her 40s. There are the exceptions, but honestly, like 29, even where I am now, I do not run miles the way I used to. Like being in your early 30s athletically is probably more comparable to being 40. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is like for him being a challenger kind of in like his mid 30s, we can perceive that as 40 just because of like you're not what you used to be, you know?
I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule, but most of these top people that I'm thinking of, like Jordan, are in their upper 30. You know what I mean? They're not 20s anymore. Like all the like champs that we know they're older now. They all get old just like we do. They all get older. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, either way, you're looking at a 14 age gap there if they decide to hook up later. We haven't seen anything shown on camera. If they did hook up, I'm surprised they're even showing the flirtation because they don't want, I think it might be considered inappropriate, but no one's thinking of age, right? Oh, they're all in their 20s.
No one.
Bananas is still in his 20s, probably. Late 20s at this point.
I will. Have you guys watched the show Tell Me Lies on?
No.
Doesn't it appear right after the challenge?
No, it's on Hulu. It's very sexy.
Oh, what's that stupid one with Tori, not Tori Amos.
It's like
Tori Spelling.
I will say the premise sounded so stupid, Dan, but I found myself because it was on in the background because of old school TV strategies of the lead-in show. Right?
I know.
For some reason, maybe my husband fell asleep. I don't even know what it was. I found myself, I was putting clothes away. Here I am 15 minutes into the show. And I'm like, this is kind of fun.
Really? Oh boy.
I kind of want to play. Pick me. Because it's about trying to suss out who is the real couple and who's the fake couple, which seems so stupid. And the way they market it is like, who's the real couple? It's all like cartoony. But then you start to watch it and you're like, wait, I wonder if they showed a couple. I was like, fake, easily fake. Like, you like playing it for some reason.
So you as
Why?
an audience are not let in on any of who's real and who's fake
No.
couple wise. So you're in the boat
my
with the other contestants.
minutes of watching it, I don't know. I wasn't really so locked in and focused. I was passively watching it, but I don't think that they tell it to us either from at least my 7 minutes of watching what I did watch, but it was fun enough. I understand where you're coming from. You just have to watch it to find out. You have to drink the Kool-Aid.
What I do want, what is winning me over is the commercials for the Surreal Life. What is that on? I want to see Frankie Muniz and Dennis Rodman in a house.
I'm fully caught up. I haven't watched this week's episode, but I'm 3 episodes in. It's absolutely fantastic.
Are you recording it?
Yeah, but my DVR only holds so much, so they keep getting deleted. I'm not paying the extra premium to keep a full DVR. They make
No.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, but you don't have to. If you go onto my stream of DirecTV, not that we share or anything, just type in the little magnifying glass area, the Surreal Life, and you can watch episodes. But you have to watch them with commercials, but who cares? It's free TV.
I can't wait. Is it fun?
It's 100% fun. Reminds me, they're doing a great job of making it feel just like the original Surreal Life, where they learn lessons every episode, but do fun experiments where they have to express themselves. Dennis Rodman, Frankie Muniz, Tamar Braxton, all a hoot, all having a great time in there. And some serious issues are covered, and it's absolutely fantastic. I 100% recommend it. Yeah.
Sold. All right, done.
Now that's what we should be covering on Patreon.
we can after because Bachelor.
Sorry, it's too deep in, but yeah, possibly, I guess. Okay. If you haven't checked out our Patreon, we're covering BIP, Bachelor in Paradise, and we just put up an episode yesterday, and Pam and I went on some tangents that you do not want to miss out on. They are fantastic tangents. We're talking first kiss, which she just demonstrated for you, and also yearbook photos and all kinds of other favorite TV shows that are out right now that we're watching. Yeah, good stuff.
It's fun. Check it out.
Jenna, you were saying
$1 a month.
$1 a month, yeah.
Or you can pay more if you want. I think I made us $6 yesterday. I finally I was like, oh, friends that I'm in a Bachelor chat with every week. I'm like, join our Patreon.
Yeah, watch the Patreon. Yeah.
And so we might have $6 more in there.
I saw somebody. Yes, I saw some in there. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'm just doing this so that people know. Now we're gonna start talking about the challenge.
Oh, good. I can fast forward to this move. If you see this move in the
skip to,
the review actually starts now. As much as we're all saying that overall we love this episode, I do have a critique. And it's very similar to what we kind of always say, is that it's very obvious the foreshadowing of what storytelling arc is going to happen and the ultimate betrayal that is eventually going to happen at the end of the episode, because they keep beating us over the head with Jay and Jack, they're best friends now. Jay and Jack, they're best friends. And I would so much rather it be given to us less literal. In a less literal fashion, like, okay, like they have the emo song that they're writing together. It's very cute. One snippet, one confessional of them being friends and them bonding, and their personalities match. But it just felt like the whole first half hour was a line from Jay saying how much he loves Jack, was a line from Jack saying how much he loves Jay, a line from
Veronica and Anissa.
Exactly. It's like, it's up. Too much. It's too much.
It's too much. Well, I bring it up every week. Do you know who the first talking head was tonight?
Jack.
No, Michelle. Michelle's the first talking head, and you know what she says in that? She says something about, man, we really got to win this one.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I'm like, what the hell?
So the big reveal is always ruined, and I'd so much rather see the buildup of their friendship over the 5 episodes, because they try to beat these storylines into us and try to make us care wholeheartedly in 20 to 30 minutes about Jay and Jack's friendship. And it's like, it's episode 5. They should, there should have been an influence of this in episode 3 and 4 up to this point for us to actually care about their friendship, because just telling me all of a sudden out of nowhere that they're best friends for 3 weeks isn't going to hit us. The betrayal isn't going to hit us as hard as we would if we had that slower storyline.
Now, they are trying to do this with Tori and Jordan, I believe, because the only thing they mentioned from Tori and Jordan tonight is that in a talking head moment, in a confessional, she says that she's still in love with Jordan and she doesn't want to see him go home. Okay. So they are slowly building that, because I think we've had some people in the comments tell us some stuff that happens with Jordan and in a couple episodes. I won't say it here because I don't want to upset you.
I don't know.
But I saw it written down that something's gonna happen with Jordan later that's gonna with him and Tori. It's gonna be a whole thing. But so they are slowly building that storyline, which I do appreciate, because obviously last week and the week before it was like, okay, Jordan's in the house out of nowhere, and now she has to deal with that. And she's also going through some, she's obviously depressed, or she's taking medication for some type of depression or anxiety or something that she's going through as well. So they are slowly building. I appreciate that. But you're right. This whole Jack and Jay BS, it's one episode. We love each other. We hate each other. It's over. It's like, no. Where's that from day one? They just cram it into our brains and try to make us give a crap for 45 minutes and then it's over forever. No, sorry, guys. I'm not going to buy into that relationship.
I'm kind of a sucker.
A little bit tough to watch. You're a sucker?
I love that. I'm like, that's such good friend. I love their friendship.
Such good friends, Jenny. Hear this?
Such good friendship. I liked the song. I liked that they're both kind of weird and don't seem to click with tons of other dudes, if I'm reading this right. And it seemed like a cute friendship. I was invested in the friendship.
No, I was totally invested in their friendship, and I love it. And I loved how well they got along, and I liked watching it. But I didn't love 7 people telling me that they're the best of friends, so they're never going to betray each other. And you're just, by the third one, you know that they are going to betray each other. You know that there is going to be a backstabbing. 1 or 2, okay, set that tone, and then give me another vignette or a storyline with somebody else so that it's distracting and that there's so many things going on in the house. What happens is an episode becomes a focus around 2 people. Right. And you know that the entire episode is about them, and you're losing the sense of anybody else in the house. And you know that there's a reason they're bringing you down that road. And that kind of makes it hard to watch because you're just waiting for it to happen. You're like, okay, I know what you're setting up. And now I'm just waiting out the whole episode instead of like enjoying the other stuff that's going on.
Well, so we can call out the production is very cut and paste at this point. It is. And unfortunately, it'd be nice if they had all the content and then curated story arcs, but they don't. They clearly do each episode, who's going to go in, let's make a storyline around that, which is a little lame. It'd be nice if they didn't do that.
They never used to do it that way, ladies. They used to build used to build stuff the entire season and keep us like, what the hell's going to happen with CT and DM this week, blah blah blah. And it would always build. So then I got to ask you ladies this question. How did you feel about the BS Darrell situation where he's like, well, maybe we should team with Kim and Colleen. They were talking by the bunk beds, him and Veronica. Maybe we should team up. If the 2 teams are going to get thrown every week, us and them, if we always save each other, we'll never have to see a thing. And then boom, we get no payoff, Jenna, and they just save Jordan and Anissa.
Well, listen, I will disagree with you that I do think that there was a payoff, because I think Veronica threatening them down in the sand and being very vocal and transparent with her feelings was great, because they're old school, and in kind of the newer generation of the challenge, you don't really have people who are willing to say like, listen, we've been on this show season after season after season. You are my friend, my good friend outside of the show, and I'm still thinking about putting your ass in because you're not communicating with me. I like the call out. I like the honesty. And I actually think that they were considering it. So I don't think it was a BS. No,
I agree. I think Darrell was probably considering it more than Veronica, considering Veronica got to make the speech and Darrell just sat there kind of just letting her do her thing. But so you ladies didn't want them to go all the way with it, because I did.
I didn't.
I would have loved it, but I didn't mind that they didn't either.
I mean, I don't want to see Jordan go home, but I think he would have done fine.
I think we need to, this episode should be called, I'd like to retitle it, Bold or Bad, because there's a lot of things that are bold moves, but are they bad moves as well? And we have more of that later. And I agree that it would have been bold and cool, but also potentially really dumb. They are probably allies. Who knows what Kim and Colleen are really like? They haven't won anything. I would stick my bet with Anissa and Jordan over.
Yeah, it's the veteran stuff. Like maybe in this game, you're right. Maybe the episode before the final, maybe they won't save you. But I think if this scenario was exactly flipped and Anissa and Jordan pulled it, they're going to save you, Veronica and Darrell.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, speaking of dumb, I think later on in the episode we'll get into Michelle's decisions. I don't know if you ladies agree with that. I thought they were super dumb, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First, we got to talk about Royal Relay presented by Burger King, and that was the challenge of the day. That's what it was called. It wasn't the best thing to watch for me personally.
Really?
I couldn't. They kept trying to show who was in what place with the little tags with an arrow pointing to a dot in the water, and my eyes are trying to figure out where the hell everyone is. At the end, it was totally BS that Tori and Devin were that close and tied up with whoever else was, and I don't even remember who it was. That's how bad it was.
Wait, guys.
It looked like they were neck and neck, right? They can easily cut footage later of them standing on the dock upset that they did not win, whoever that was. I don't even remember the team that it was. Kim and Colleen, maybe. Was it Kim and
Colleen and Kim. Wait, guys, I completely disagree with you. I was on the edge of my seat. I loved the challenge. There was so much back and
Jenna,
forth.
I was on the edge of my seat trying to see what was going on.
Oh my gosh, there were so many changes. I loved it. I loved how many different people were in first place, and there was different heats. I'm sorry, well, not even different heats. With the guys and girls going at different times. So
there was different legs,
yeah, legs. Thank you, legs. So Casey is like hot out the gate, but then she gasses out. So then Tori passes her. So then Tori and Devin are in first. And then by the time Casey's brother Kenny finishes, they're fifth. But then somehow Casey and Kenny become second again. But then Fessy, like, completely demolishes the swim back. So then him and his partner are in second, but then Mariah can't row. So then they're in dead last. And then Nani and Bananas can't row. So they're in last. And Jordan had to figure it out with his one hand, and him and Anissa are slow, and then they're in second. And then Colleen and Kim come out of the woodwork, and they're amazing. And then they come in second, and they were right on Tori and Devin's ass. And
maybe they were. I don't look, you explaining it to me now was clearer than watching the show. However,
really?
Yes, because were they really this close? You cannot tell from that footage if they were actually that close or if it's all cheap editing tricks. And I can't stand that crap when watching a show. I'm sorry, but that was cheap editing to me.
Wow, interesting, because I thought you could tell that they were right behind because they got to the dock like within seconds of Tori and Devin. You know, they were right.
They were separate docks, though. They were separate docks. They showed it wasn't a camera where they panned from Tori and Devin over to Colleen and Kim and said, "Look how close." It was cut shot, cut shot, cut shot, cut shot, and maybe they were that close. I highly doubt it, though.
So we all, I guess, are suckers at some point, right? So that was me.
Well, I don't know. You might not even be a sucker. You might not even be a sucker, Jenna. I'm just saying from my perspective, it's what I saw.
I don't think you were a sucker. I couldn't follow what the hell was going on. So when those things are going on that are multiple, I'm just like, all right, I'll check in when they announce it.
But see, Pamela, I was actually trying. You at least made the right decision, Pamela, to sit back, relax, and take a break. I'm physically trying to write down and figure out who's. I'm like, what a waste of my time. I can't figure out where anybody is on this damn map.
That's so funny because I couldn't write notes quick enough, but in an I love this type of way. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this team that was in fifth place is now in second, and seeing where people are struggling. I like that
part. I
like being struggling terrible at swimming. It's interesting to see Nani and Bananas be terrible at rowing, but in their defense, also Jack's commentary was cracking me up. Because he was saying that this boat was straight out of the Smithsonian Museum, and Laurel somehow must have rowed with the Pilgrims in a different life because she's hitting that like she does it every morning. So for that reason, it's making sense that like Nani and Mariah are just cannot figure it out. But at the same time, everybody else seemed to be getting in a groove really well. But it was making me think about Dan when we talked about the budget or the props, how there's always containers. Well, they tried to spice it up a little bit, but maybe the budget was real low because the only kayaks they could find were ones that like people used to churn their own butter on.
Like wooden.
That were wooden and like need a little extra love to work.
I think they purposely used those because they knew they'd be somewhat difficult. Now, the person in the seat wasn't just sitting there. I don't know if did you ladies know what the person in the seat was doing? The person sitting across from the rower had two ropes in their hand. Those ropes were attached to the rudder. And the rudder, I don't know if you all know, but the rudder is used to steer the boat like this. So by pulling on each side of the rope, they're actually moving the boat back and forth this way as well, helping them. Because, I mean, obviously, if you do one, or you can also make the boat turn, but they actually technically had a job with those stupid ropes. They were attached to the rudder, which is on the back of the boat in the water, doing this. Like a tail, like a fin.
We have to give a shout out to Faisal for his self-improvement. He took the notes from that being awful to your partner doesn't help and you look like a real dick. So at least he was trying to support Moira, who was hilarious. And
is it Moira? Is it Mariah? Is it? See, I don't know either. I called her Moira last. I called her Mariah this week. What the hell's her name? Mariah, right?
Spelled M-O-I, right? Moira.
M-O-R, isn't it? M-O-R.
She says Mariah though.
Mariah.
Okay,
think of it phonetically. You know what I did, Pamela, to figure
her.
it out? It's just phonetically. You got to say more. Like M-O-R is more, and then there's an I in there, and then there's an A-H. So I got it out finally.
Because what happened is you guys,
she was on a rowing machine. Like she was trying, I'm like, you're not on the machine. Like it's not, it was so funny how they couldn't get it together. It's like, isn't it kind of
He also wasn't explaining it well to her, because if you notice, those oars could move closer or further away as well. So if you had them too close and you tried to row, they were actually hitting each other. You had to separate the oars out towards the water more, so that when you rowed, you had a space in between. It's all because I grew up on a lake. I was like, oh, I got this.
You grew up on a lake.
I grew up on a lake. I feel like it's a difficult thing to explain to but I feel like that's a sort of instinctual thing to figure out. Like,
it really seems more common sensey, but again, if you've never been around like water sports or something, I can see the confusion. I mean, Pam, if you want to show my senior year picture on your non-blurred screen, you can see.
My phone is in another.
You can see that I grew up on a lake because I took my senior pictures in front of the lake that I grew up.
I'll post it on
his beloved lake. This lake. Oh my goodness.
I wish I grew up on a lake.
It was a great lake. What are we doing here?
I get where they're coming from though, because I feel like everybody's brains work differently, and it's like a left side, right side of the brain sort of thing where Fessy keeps saying, "Oh, just a little blurry taste."
Not gonna.
Far
away.
From far you can do it. There you go.
There's me on a lake.
There it is.
Dan Timberlake.
No one can see that. No one is going to know what that picture
They'll just do this to their little phones they're watching it on.
Blow it up. So
but Fessy can tell her how to like twist and place her arms all he wants, but if she's not understanding like in what direction, sometimes you're just like, I truly cannot compute what you're saying. My body doesn't do that.
But it's like trying to explain to someone how to put pants on. It's almost just like, well, you know what I mean? Like you
almost your frustration, just like, how do you not know?
Articulate to somebody else.
Stick your foot in a hole, and it's like, what hole? Like, can't you tell by looking at the pants? I don't know. Yeah, it's a hard thing to explain.
Yeah.
It's like,
but I like that it kind of ruled people out really quickly. Like, for example, the relay, it was so specific to certain skills. Exactly that. I mean, for Bananas and Nani to not even have a fighting chance, for Mariah and Fessy to be out so quickly, for Nerisse and Nelson to struggle so much with the swimming that they're not even a dog in the fight. Chauncey and Amber are so bad at swimming that they don't even have a dog.
I mean, we've known for years Nani can't swim. Didn't she ride on Josh's back one season when they had a swimming one? She just floated on his back through the whole thing. I remember.
Yeah. But that's something I love about this challenge too, is that Veronica and Jack are trying to backstroke to maintain their endurance, or, just be able to give all that they have to try as hard as they can, but they're not knowing where they're going, but they can't hear. So their partners are screaming at them. They have no idea. They're going in the complete opposite direction.
Also with life jackets on, because on our honeymoon, we swam with dolphins, and you have to wear life jackets and you have to swim out, and then the dolphin swims to you. And I had to swim on my back because you can't move freely, especially, and Veronica and I are like built the same, like little people with big boobs, like having a life jacket up to here, it's kind of hard to like deal with moving around. Like I had to swim on my back with a life jacket on too, just because like I couldn't wouldn't have gotten anywhere with my little arms like in the jacket. So
Jay and Michelle did amazing in this challenge. they kicked ass, but my heroes are Jordan, because he just always finds a way to figure everything out. No matter what, no matter the obstacles. How impossible is it to row in general? Some people are not even able to do it with their two hands in this challenge. And he's able to not only do it, but like excel at it and be able to keep up with the team in front of him. And my other heroes are Colleen and Kim, because they are just like the little engines that could. They were on two very randomly different reality TV shows that, even though Colleen's was kind of strategic and political, neither of them were on challenge type of shows, like nothing that needed to do anything with athletic competitiveness or athletic ability. And they're just so good.
Yeah,
and they have
they're
the
great.
best optimism and attitudes in everything that they do, and they never rule themselves out. They're like head down, steadfast. So I love them. And obviously what happens is sad in the end.
TJ, little soft being kind of sweet. Last episode and this episode, his goodbyes were not mean to Tommy too. He was like, I like that you're crying, you know. He's like, it means you care. And he was sweet to Kim and Colleen too. He was like, we all love you.
Yeah.
Well, but TJ, if you try your hardest, TJ's usually nice to you when you leave, though.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll say this: I definitely did not want to see Colleen and Kim go home today.
I know.
I really, they are growing on me as a team, as individuals. I think that he's got some funny one-liners. I think I wanted to see where her relationship with Fessy was going to go. I had a lot to root for with them.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely disappointed with them going home. Yeah.
They're just so likable.
They
They're
are
so
likable.
Pleasant, and they did not come in with any sort of entitled attitude. They came in kind of knowing like this is going to be hard, but they had fun with it. They just seemed like they had such good attitudes. They didn't ever like get flustered when they were thrown into elimination. They just took it on the chin.
I think their beautiful Nordic looks freak me out. Like they're so perfect that I feel like they're future people or something. Like
I think they're I love their look. I think their looks are great.
They're so perfect that it kind of freaks me out a little bit. Right. But I mean, I still like them. It's not their fault that they're very beautiful. But yeah, I'm not trying to hold it against them. They are likable, but it took me, like I did come in with a you're too beautiful bias that I'm slowly getting over. So I would have liked to kept them, but I'm really warming up towards Jack, so I'm vice versa.
Well, Jenna, I'm definitely glad that you gave some compliments to Michelle and Jay during the challenge, because we're about to kind of crap all over them for the next 15 minutes.
I have some takes, so
good. Okay, so
lead us in, leader.
Heat 1 winner was Jay and Michelle. Heat 2 winner Tori and Devin. They tried to give us a little drama there. However, Jay and Michelle win. We don't know how much time. They probably destroyed everybody. We have no idea. Now they are sitting in deliberation. They have to pick. Yes, I know this part's boring, Pam, but we'll get through.
No, my ears are clogged. Sorry, that was my
I've just joked. So they have to pick some people to go in. Now I'm thinking Jay and Michelle, they've talked earlier in the season about having this whole rookie alliance with all these other people. I'm thinking for sure, I'm like, okay, finally, we're going to get 4 veteran teams in here, and we're going to get some awesome drama. We're guaranteed a veteran team has to go home today. And I thought they shit the bed. I thought that and the fact, like, okay, so Laurel and Jack, technically you're friends with Jack still. If you didn't put them in, and even if you put Bananas in Nani in that position, even if you still wanted the Colleen and Kim thing there, because whatever, they're rookies, whatever, you still have 3 veteran teams in there, and you decided not to. Like, I please, Jenna, I guess you can go first, because you're going to be able to save them somehow, you said, possibly.
Oh, no, not necessarily save. I completely agree with you. I think they absolutely dropped the ball. I think that they should have put Bananas and Nani in. But then I was remembering that Michelle basically cried her heart out to Nani in the first episode because she feels as though those two are very good friends. So she had all the ammo in the game to go after Bananas and Nani, and them, Bananas and Nani, being veterans, expected it because they knew that's probably what they would have done in the game. They knew that when you put something out there, karma, it's going to come back to you. But she did kind of have that tie to Nani. I think also Jay specifically has built his entire persona of this season of the show about taking big risks, going for big teams, and not playing a scared game. And they didn't show that. And he also pulled his big personality was that he's very loyal to who he's friends with.
Yeah, because what is happening?
He saved Johnny earlier in the season, and he's all about like remember when Michelle wanted to say Johnny and not save Johnny from going
Yeah, and they
into
had that fight,
elimination.
right?
And Jay was like, no, I'm never going to say my friend's name. But it's interesting because he said Jack's name. So Jay kind of has like destroyed his identity in the game a little bit, and everything that he's built up as our legacy in this season is going to be going for big teams and saving all the rookies, and I'm a loyal friend. So he did shit the bed in that sense. But that my counterpoints are as followed. Number one, Jay and Jack, how long have they truly been friends for, right?
Yeah.
They just met. They just met. They've been friends for 3 weeks. So if they're thinking like end game, we don't think Laurel has our back. Sadly, Jack, you're tied to Laurel. So you know what? I'm sorry, but it is a game. What do we always say? It is a game show for $1 million. If you have to throw in somebody who you've been close with for 3 weeks, you might have to throw that person in. You know, this isn't your lifelong best friend. And I also raise you, Veronica, considering throwing in Anissa, because that's the game. So in comparison, it's like Jack is saying he's never going to trust anybody else ever again in his life, and his heart is shattered. And it's like Veronica is very good friends with Anissa outside of the game and has known her for over a decade, and she almost put Anissa in because it's a game show for $1 million. So how strong really is your friendship? Point number 2 is that Michelle, I think, articulated and presented herself in a little bit like wish-washy, insecure way. But I don't doubt that Laurel has been cold as hell to her in the house. I don't think Laurel has ever done anything to Michelle to establish a sort of connection or like, oh no, I would have your back in the game. So why wouldn't Michelle feel like, let's put in Laurel?
Okay, so I'm gonna address your points, which are: one, Laurel scary and cold. I get it. Not a horrible idea to put her in. However, Michelle's reason was that they might be enemies. Like, she created a rivalry that doesn't exist and decided that Laurel was gunning for her, which is not true and is very weird and very paranoid and a weird thing to play. And so first of all, I want to talk about Jay. Jay totally shit the bed. Michelle's like, now I think she's a wackadoo. I mean, I love her, but she was all over the place in this. Jay needs to take the reins. He got sent home because of Teresa last season, and Teresa's bold/bad moves of trying to go after big people, and Jay sort of sat back and let Teresa call the shots, and he's doing it again. And I have to assume Jay's not a stupid person. He won Survivor, he beat CT, he's not bad. These are bad moves. I don't know why he's doing this, letting these women that have bad ideas take the lead, and not expressing himself. Forget his friendship with, I'm not mad at that. Put in whoever you want, but they should have put in Bananas and Nani. This whole Laurel might not have our back, so we're going to potentially earn goodwill with Bananas and Nani is the dumbest plan. Yeah. Like, that is a really unsolid to make all this based on. They should have put them in. Laurel, they should have made sure that they were getting rid of a strong vet team no matter what. So they should have put Tori and Devin in, Bananas and Nani, Veronica and Darrell, and Anissa and Jordan. Done. And whoever goes home, great. And then at least it's not like, why are you coming after us, my best friend? Which it was. It's like so random that they put Laurel and Jack. It's like, because we're going after the strongest vet teams. Sorry, love you, mean it, but that's the game we decided.
These two are these two to me are, I know Jay's been on, it's like his 3rd season. This is Michelle's 2nd season, but they are on the rookie totem pole, and they're somewhere in the middle. They're like not very high up on that rookie totem pole either. Amber B's got years on them, et cetera, et cetera. I don't care whatever reason. I don't care that Jay and Jack are friends, right? But the reason that you put them in is because you have, like you said, Pamela, apparently Laurel looked at you wrong one day, Michelle, and you're paranoid AF about it. Like you said, Michelle, a wackadoodle, a nut job. She doesn't think things clearly. I don't want to see her on my TV. I don't like this at all.
I like her voice.
No. Why? How do you not think through things clearly, or go have that conversation with Laurel ahead of time and say, Laurel, I feel like you're giving me some beef with the way you're looking at me. Is there anything there? Because I'm just confused. I want us to be on the same team. Jack and Jay are clearly close friends, whatever the hell that means. They've known each other for a whole week and they love each other. So why don't we all try to work with each other? You're clearly a strong competitor. You go like 20-0 in eliminations. So let's try to work something there.
1,000,000% agree with you, Dan. It's like, have that. Laurel said it best. She's like, why didn't you have this conversation with me before you put me in?
Oh, and I mean,
it's like,
two more things real quick. Two more things real quick. They go to Bananas and Bananas like, yeah, we got your back later. Why would you ever trust Bananas? Have you, Mr. J, who we've had on this after show, has told us that he's a super fan like we are. We all know not to trust Bananas, and that Bananas has his motto of everything in the challenge is fair game, basically. So Jay, you're blowing your load after 1 minute of sex on the challenge. Knock it off, dude, and get your shit together.
Yes.
And Michelle, during her interrogation or interrogation part, she said the same cut and paste line to every team. Well, we haven't really talked strategy with you. It's a cop-out move on Michelle's part, and I can't stand that stuff in the challenge. It's not even like she didn't have a good reason to put any of these people in, and she knew it, and she had to come up with a reason, so she did a cut and paste job instead of throwing in 4 veteran teams, coming out like a bat out of hell, a badass, and proving why you should be on this show.
Exactly. You won.
Yeah, the only problem with that, though, is then you do make your cards and your alliances very, very clear. You know, then, but you don't want that in the game. You don't want everyone.
But they already know where
people to know.
These veterans don't care about
where
them,
the fuck
though.
are they? Who are they loyal to? They're not.
The veterans don't like them.
Now, it's like, you're not veterans. Bananas doesn't have your back. Now Laurel hates you. So now the veterans hate you, and the rookies can't trust you because you sent in a rookie pair.
Yeah, I guess my question is really, like, who else were they going to send in besides Bananas and Nany? I think it would have been perfect if they just subbed out Jack and Laurel for Bananas and Nany, and then everybody who they sent out would have been perfectly fine, because they do have the Colleen and Kim in there. Although I feel like poor Colleen and Kim, they've earned their right there. They've won eliminations. They're performing really well. They're great, pleasant people. That could be a number for you. They're a rookie team. Jay and Michelle, you could use them. But I guess if you want to, like what Nelson did with Olivia, put some of the stink out of, clearly we're going for only veterans, because that does show your cards, and you don't want everyone to know exactly how you're playing the game. But they did not do themselves any favors. It just, basically they should have put in Nany and Bananas, really, is what they should have done. But I agree with everything Laurel said after the fact. Michelle's attempt of damage control was an absolute complete fail, because you can't go to somebody after you put them in and say, like, I just want to know, like, how you doing?
Where's your head at?
Where's your head at?
Scary Laurel.
Like, what the hell do you want me to say? Like, Laurel is a very honest, direct person. You put me in, my head is getting ready for elimination, Michelle. Like, we can't really get through this now. We can't mend these wounds after. We should have preemptively had the conversation. So I 100% agree with Laurel. And Michelle should have taken it upon herself to try to talk to Laurel and try to, like, nip this in the butt before it became a problem. But again, I think that we're being too hard on Michelle for, like, randomly putting Laurel in. I don't think it was random. I don't think it was one side-eye bad look. Laurel is definitely, can come off maybe in a very cold way. And I'm sure that 3-4 weeks into the house at this point, I believe from Michelle's point of view, is what she's saying is that Laurel has probably been cold to her, and probably
Laurel's a bitch. I mean, like, Laurel's a bitch. I'm sure she is being her bitchy self, but because Jack and Jay were close, I don't think they would have been a target for them. So it doesn't make any sense. It's like,
I think that's the way you have to look at it too. Like, maybe it's all in her head. Maybe it's not, like you said, Jenna. Maybe Laurel is being cold. But I think Laurel's being cold to more than just her in the house. Like, it's not all just focused on Michelle. And then Michelle's got to think to herself, if she thought logically, well, Jay and Jack got this budding friendship.
Right.
So if they were to go after us, Jack and Laurel would have a big debate over it. We still might be safe.
Right.
Plus, we're rookies, and wouldn't they want to go after maybe some heavy hitters? Who knows?
Right.
But I think that it became a mountain of a molehill, that type of saying, you know?
No, honestly, you're so right, because if it wasn't for Michelle's paranoia, they would have had numbers in someone
and made badass moves.
Yes, but they would have had numbers and an alliance in 2 people who are now actively targeting them.
Right.
Like, it's the complete opposite. They would have had such a good, probably, relationship with Laurel and Jack because of Jay, And now they have people who are now they've ruined it for Jay and Jack too.
It was
like,
a missed opportunity too to take out a big vet team. That's what Jay said they were going to do. I felt like I was waiting when this plan was being discussed for Jay to be like, wait a second, that's a terrible idea. And he's like, okay. And I was like, what do you mean?
No, Pamela.
Now like that we're talking it out loud and I'm really like talking it through. I'm like, yeah, they really, even if
you know what he said
because of Jack and Jay's relationship, there's no way that Jack was ever going to say Jay's name because he is such a loyal, he believes in that friendship so much that they really destroyed what would have been helpful to them in this game. It would have been more numbers in their corner. And now they have enemies. Now you made Jack like really upset and pissed off that now he's coming back for you. So I understand now. So thanks everybody for staying with me on this journey.
Yeah, that's why it's
coming too. My awakening.
And they could have had they could have put them in without all the hubbub of Laurel's gunning for me from Michelle by just saying, you're a strong team. Sorry, this is the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, no, I guess we're putting in,
but they picked such a weird assortment of people to put in. They had no strategy, apparently, except get rid of Laurel, which didn't work. So now I think they really boned this up. And I don't know what you were going to say, Dan, but yeah, I felt like, where's the adult supervision? When's someone going to go, this is a terrible idea? Hang on.
What I was going to say was Jay says to Michelle before they're deciding who that last team to be put in, he goes, oh, well, you're better than me at this. And then he like puts his head down on the table and lets her make the final call of Laurel and Jack that's where he needed to stand up, which he did earlier in the season, which is why I'm confused. Yeah. He stood up for Johnny earlier in the season. Why wouldn't he stand up again for the supposed great relationship with Jack and say, hey, look, if Laurel's giving you side eyes, I'm sorry, but I have a great relationship. I don't think that it's going to affect us. We should really gun at some of the.
Do we want them as an enemy if they come back? That's the question they should have posited before they decided to throw them in. Is, look, are we going to make a big move and take the potential risk, or doing all this for Bananas and Nani's potential favor down the line?
It was like a cop-out excuse
versus almost. Creating versus ruining a relationship with another strong team that you also are friends with on one half of it. None of it made any sense. Their whole plan was a sandcastle that just got
really bad gamble.
Yeah, it was not well thought out. It didn't make any sense, and I wanted someone, Jay, to be like, wait a second, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, even if you kept up, for some reason you kept up Laurel and Jack, you pissed off Jordan and Anissa, right? But if you had put Bananas and Nani even in that position, they threw you in earlier. So what is Bananas he could be upset, but he wouldn't be mad at you. He'd be like, okay, you threw me in. And if he sat down in the interrogation.
And Tori and Devin, you almost beat us today. You almost beat us.
Again, another great reason to put Tori and Devin in. And they're all vets.
Champs, and we want to beat you.
Right, and they're all vets that are in there, no rookies.
Right, exactly. Alliance. It's all vets.
I think we beat to death this I think we got it. I think we did.
Now they've made enemies. At least we know the vets are kind of allied. Now they've made enemies of vets, rookies, everybody. It's like now everybody can gun after them because they have no loyalty to anyone apparently.
Exactly. Yeah. I think now it's going to be so incredibly hard for them to dig themselves out of this hole because they've gone back on what they said that their identity was. You know, Jay did say he's loyal. He's going to make big moves. He's going for vets. He's in rookie alliances. Didn't really prove that at all. Dropped the ball. So they've kind of now lost what they were trying to put out there for people to, so they wanted people to perceive them in a certain way. But when push came to shove, when they had the power, they did not execute on any of those. They did not deliver at all. So who's going to believe them now?
Exactly.
Who's really going to work with them now?
And Jay should have learned this. Because of Teresa last season, they did something. Teresa had beef with people. Jay deferred to her to put in these big bets, and they lost. And Jay shouldn't have gone. I wanted to see him go a lot farther in that season than he did. He let Teresa make the decisions based on her personal feelings. And it was stupid. And I feel like he should have been like, look, I've been down this road before. I don't
think Jay is a politically minded person. He said that on our show, actually, Throwback, because I remember asking before you went into the house, did you think about your strategy for the politics and your social game. He was like, honestly, no, I didn't want to. I did the same thing on Survivor. I didn't want to. I just wanted to go into the house and then figure it out. I didn't want to overthink it. So I think if somebody makes an argument to him, he doesn't think critically about it. He just is like, oh, okay, like Michelle has her reasons for Laurel. So let's just go with her reasons. You know, like he doesn't try to think totally about all the repercussions or the long game. He was kind of just like, oh, okay, like you have a political stance. I don't really. I like to go with the flow. So since you care, you pick.
That makes a certain amount of sense. But then you have to be kind of, I mean, I don't think Jay is not a bright person. I feel like he's very bright.
He just doesn't
so
want
it's like you have to be able to look at, I understand going in, especially as a rookie without a strategy, because it's like, I don't know these people. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know where I fit in. Same with Survivor. It's all rookies all the time. So you can't really strategize beforehand. But in this instance, he should be aware of, should be implementing some critical thought based on past experiences. So I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's like, well, when your partner's making a very clear mistake that I feel like should be clear to him, you should speak up.
Yeah.
Well, we might have a Tommy and Annalise situation on our hands. We saw what happened with them earlier this season. Maybe people start gunning for Jay and Michelle just because, you know what? It's an easy reason. It's easy excuse. We don't trust you. You said you're such good friends with Jack. Now you're not going to be. And so now we don't want to work with you either. So they've definitely made their climb up the hill a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because this all happens before we even get to elimination. This is when the actual shock factor came in. I was floored when they actually picked Jack and Laurel to go into elimination. I thought maybe they were just going to be in the handful of scapegoats, you know, like the 3 random teams that you could still possibly get safety. That when they actually said their name, that's when I was like, oh shit. But because at the same time, we got a TV show here. Like that felt like authentic stupidity or authentic, like trying to over strategize or overthink the game. But that's what we want. We want people just being people, and people make mistakes, and we don't want to feel like the production's influence. So the fact that they even said Laurel and Jack, and you know, Laurel and Jack didn't think that they were going to be named either, because they went from like, okay, this sucks, we're down here, we're angry, to like red and stone face. I was like, oh my God, no one thought this was going to happen.
Laurel is scary. She like actually scares me, and I think she's mean, so I'd be scared to get into a fight with her because I feel like she'd eviscerate you. But yeah, I mean, I feel like at that point they were like, wow, we already made enemies of them, we might as well go through with it. It's like at that point they're already super pissed off. So
but I think it would have lightened the load if they didn't say their name, right?
I don't know. I think Laurel probably holds a grudge. I think
but unless they pull the safety dagger, you know, or if they get saved, I think Jack could maybe come around to forgiving Jay if they didn't have to play the elimination. But not only did they have to play, they had to play by the verbal doing and choosing of their friends.
I think at that point, I mean, it was good TV. Like, that's where it was like, whoa, you guys are going for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. I liked it.
Yeah. I was like, all right, go ahead then.
I'm into it.
Yeah, they definitely doubled down. And also, yeah, Laurel is scary. The way that she worked with Jack in this final, like the things that she's yelling at him, I'm like, is this positive? Is this something you can like, does this make you a better teammate by yelling at the person this way? Does that motivate them? I don't know. Jack didn't seem to be too flustered by it. He didn't seem to be too upset by it. So I don't know. Maybe it works for them, but it comes off scary to me. I don't want to say, it's scary white woman, but it kind of is. I'm like, does she have a Karen side to her? I know that's kind of overused in the woke culture now, but yeah, like you don't know, calling people Karen.
I thought you said a care inside. Like, no, a Karen. She's so cold that she doesn't even have a care in her heart.
Well, maybe that too.
That's what I was like, maybe. Yeah. I don't know if she has a care inside.
I think that she is a good friend to Jack though, and Jack respects her so much that he probably, assuming
she's been on the show forever and he's a newbie. Of course he's going to be like, whatever you want to do, Laurel, let's go with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think his interpretation was tough love. Like sometimes I do need someone to kind of put the fire into my ass and like give it to me like truthfully and you know and blunt so that you work harder, you know.
And they're friends
to win not only for himself. He has Laurel, who's a seasoned vet, like telling him what to do. He's like, I cannot mess this up. Like
I think
It worked,
I don't think
yeah.
he took it. I think he took it in stride. I think he took it for what it was, that like, this is how I need to communicate with you in order to win this. And great.
I
Um,
think he appreciates the realness because he even said at the end, he was like, for some reason, everybody else would probably be scared, but I find your yelling voice comforting to me.
right. Like, good
That
for
he
you.
did say this.
Like,
Yeah.
I get what he means in a sense, though, because I think he knows her. Like, they have a
Right.
friendship. They are ride or dies, and he knows, like, okay, Laurel's in her zone right now. I can't let her down. So I know what he means by, like, okay, I just know that this is her wanting, like, trying to pull the best out of me. But to us, I'm like, I don't know if I can
I
work
have
with
a
that.
friend that's like a little controlling and bossy, and I love her, but and sometimes like packing up a car kind of thing. I'm like, I don't know, just tell me what to do. Like she's
Yeah.
like, I'm not, and I'm like, I don't know. That's where my brain just goes blank, and it's like, just tell me what to do. So I get it like that when you know someone, and it's like, no, I don't feel bossed around. I feel happy because I don't know what I'm doing, and I
Yeah.
want you to tell me what to do. So kudos. And
Um,
yeah, and it was sad to see Kim and Colleen. Their beautiful Nordic looks were just growing on me. I was just starting to really appreciate their personality, so it's a bummer.
I love them. I hope they come back. And they were one
Run
away.
away.
They maybe needed a little bit of Laurel spark under their ass because it seemed like at the end, I don't know. I wonder if they're not allowed to speak to each other in German on the show because they should be able to. Because don't you think that there was like
Oh
a
yeah,
lag?
they
It's
would
now
be able to though, because Josh was allowed to speak Spanish with his best friend of the last season.
yeah, I can't imagine that
Yeah, they
that would
can't
be.
say
I
don't
mean,
speak
MTV
German.
is all about the wokeness, so I'd be shocked if they,
honestly,
said
I
you.
wouldn't be shocked that in the contract it's like for our American viewers
Right,
for it to
and
make
you're right. So
sense.
I'm
Understandably.
sorry.
You can
So
only when cameras are on, you have to speak English.
So to the yes, to us as a viewer there, the wokeness, but behind the scenes, yes, I do think that they definitely are not quite so woke, and they're like, well, we need you in English because we need to capture everything. But they can also throw subtitles up. If that was gonna you casted these people from a different country and then you make them speak English versus saying, all right, well, we'll throw if you want to throw some subtitles up sometimes we have to. And I don't see any issue with that either. I think they should
Yeah,
be
because
allowed to.
now that I'm thinking it through, because there was such a lag in their communication that didn't make sense because
Yeah.
they were quick. They were quick when they were rowing and swimming, and they were quick when Kim's amazing strategy of going up, just ripping them all down, and then having Colleen yell it out to him and him putting it all in order. Fantastic strategy. I mean, they were record speed ripping through that thing. And then there was just so much like back and forth and lag of like figuring out one square that now I'm thinking, I wonder if it's because they couldn't just talk in their
Right. It's like, I
native
don't know how to
language.
say, purple moon in English. Right.
Right, because she also said something as like an infinity sign, which I
Yeah.
guess it kind of is, but really it was like a chain.
It's
Right.
two. It was two. But it technically the
Right.
8 is infinity. It actually, I thought she did a really nice job
Yeah.
saying infinity instead of saying. Because I would have been like the one that looks like a number 8, two chain links.
Right.
Chain
Chain
links.
links is what I would have thought, because infinity I thought was like an onk, like a totally different
Yeah.
thing.
It wasn't
I
quite.
thought infinity is just like a number 8. No.
Clearly that's
Yeah.
what Colleen thinks as well. So I don't, maybe there's two versions of the infinity sign, but yeah.
I want to say this. I am more and more convinced every week that there's someone in that box of swords, and I will tell you why. Did you notice? I decided tonight to look to see where that box is in, near is it near the stage, wherever it is? Like, where is this? Like, if I'm looking at it, it's pretty close to the stage. And there is no doubt in my mind they could build a tunnel right underneath, and then you pop right up into that damn box. And since the tunnel is lower, there's someone not even sitting in the box. They're standing straight up in that box because they make the tunnel underneath the stage where all the contestants are standing. So
I don't know if I believe the tunnel theory, but it is, I believe that in TV, just like the randomizer or whatever machine, like I
oh,
don't
that
buy it.
was
I think that they are planned, because I'm glad about the way it turned out tonight, and I'm glad about last week. But watching that, I was like, this is the dumbest plan, like the Nelson plan, like, oh, we're going to trick everyone from thinking that we're working together like, it was so, it worked,
it
but
worked,
it
Pamela.
it worked, but it really could have not worked. And wasn't that great of a plan to risk your, like, it was, I was like, I don't want her to go home. I like that. I really didn't want
Yeah.
her to go home, so I was scared, and I was like, ugh. this is a terrible plan. But so I do kind of believe Dan. There's the conspiracy.
I do too. I've completely bought into this conspiracy. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know if I buy into the tunnel quite yet either, but it does feel like every single episode, it is the perfect couple being saved, the one that you want to see make that decision. So I understand it's a TV show and they want to entertain us. So there's a part of me that's like,
I don't mind.
okay, like I get it. You want to make the show good. So for that, I appreciate you. But also at the same time, like, I wish it was organic. I just wish it was natural.
It might be.
I don't think it is. I think they're like writing the last minute. There's someone under the booth. With
I literally do not think it is
that's
at
like
all.
this one, the left one.
If you look, the word safe is written on both sides of the dagger, and it's not written. It's definitely like a tape done or, you know, spray painted on. So I'm not sure how they're technically completing that part of it.
Whiteout pen under the booth.
If you look at the relation of the stage to the box, there's not much space. So therefore, they could easily make a tunnel. I'm just saying.
I know, because I liked when they did the skull flipping, the card flipping, because that you knew
it had to be there, right? No one's under there.
Right, you can't. It's on a table.
And it really is, it might not always be the best for TV, but I'm willing to take that risk for the episodes that are true and organic and do put people in those tough situations. Yes. I was listening to a podcast with a producer of reality TV. He created F-Boy Island. And he said, honestly, like the interviewer was asking, like, did you manipulate this part? Or did you tell them to do this? He was like, yeah, there's definitely times where we tell them to do certain things, but also there's so much great content comes out of literally just stepping to the side and letting people be people and just letting it breathe, because people with cameras around, people without cameras around and under stress make crazy decisions. People with cameras on, knowing they're going to be on TV, like, it's a hot zone and people will do weird things in certain situations. That's just human nature. So just letting things play out sometimes, I think, is where you get the best, like, sense of organic moments.
Agreed. Real is better. Like for Bachelor in Paradise in the beginning, they were doing, we talked about on our Patreon, which you can join for $1 a month. In the beginning, they had all these setups and weird things and coming backs. And it was like, just let them, you have a bunch of crazy, kooky people on an island. It's going to be fun to watch. Like, stop giving shtick and doing things. So, and it's gotten so much better when they stop sort of like creating storylines.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts on this elimination that was called "Give Me Some Slack"?
Jay, get it together, Jay. I want more from you. I want more from you.
Okay, you want more from Jay. Got it.
Yeah, Jay, come on. I was rooting for you. I love Jay. Was pissed he let Teresa make those big decisions that got him sent home, and now I'm pissed he let Michelle make these stupid decisions, frankly, that are putting him in a bad position now.
Okay.
That was just a fantastic episode across the board. So it makes me very excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. So I hope we get more like last night's.
Yeah, I mean, despite all the things we complain about, this season is 5 episodes in. I'm enjoying it for, I'd say 90% of it I'm enjoying. So this is absolutely fantastic. They've made almost a comeback season for the challenge. And we still, the Tori and Jordan stuff is still out there to be seen. So it makes you also want to come back and see what happens with those two every week. So they've gotten some really good stuff ahead here. I hope that they edit it well, and I hope that they just let them live. Let them live. Let them do their thing. Stop trying to freaking change shit.
Yeah, and also, but my final thought is Laurel is the sorest winner I've ever seen. Like, nobody looks as pissed and angry when they
did another like weird thing again.
Yeah, like she's like there was someone on this one we like the most, the like old school one, All Stars, that was like, ew, kill me if I ever celebrate like that. And I was like, ew, relax. People should be able to celebrate when they win, but not Laurel. She can be celebrating. She's such a mean celebrator.
Pamela, just so you know, there's a lot of commenters last week. They wrote in, "Where's Pam?" They wrote, "I love you too," meaning Jenna and I, but where's my girl Pam? So definitely, if you want to check out the comments, they are definitely in there for you last week.
Oh, and good. Thanks, guys. I missed you too. I hate missing, and I'm so glad to see Jenna because we kept missing each other the other one. But yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We really do like doing this, so thank you, and we love reading your comments. Dan, did you see you wrote cutting a rug, old people cutting a rug, and someone wrote, he's making fun of old people while writing cutting a rug.
Yeah, and I wrote he wrote like, when someone does this, I wrote, well, when someone calls out the exact joke that I'm going for. So, haha.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I
responded. I always
funny.
respond when someone tries to write something that they think is funny. I have to respond because, like, yeah, you just nailed the. I'm making fun of. I wrote when the elderly cut a rug, so I use an old school term while referring to the elderly. I was going for that joke, and then he made fun of me saying that I'm old because I wrote the word cut a rug.
I was with the commenter. I thought I didn't get the joke. I
was going for the joke.
I didn't get it.
Cut a rug is an old-fashioned term. I'm like, okay, you called me out on the joke I was making, but
right, okay, I'm with that person because I didn't get it. So, oh well.
So you didn't either. So clearly my joke is not hitting people here. I get it now. All right.
I like it though.
I posted it because we're gonna show that. I'm not. No one knows. Well, Stacy and I know, but we're going to surprise my family for Thanksgiving this year. So
in South Carolina,
it's not like this is going on the internet.
They probably. I doubt anyone's gonna watch. Like, I doubt anyone in my family will be watching this far into the episode, anyways.
Right.
So I posted that video because that's my mother dancing.
Oh.
And they're gonna randomly on the big screen TV. My dad already had it planned. He's just gonna randomly put it up there so everyone can, like, make a big joke about my mother trying to dance, because the guy she's dancing with is another one of their friends, and he's coming over for Thanksgiving as well. So randomly in the background, all of a sudden you're gonna see them dancing because they all went to a wedding months ago, I guess. Cute. So I edited it and I put it up on my YouTube so that my dad can easily find it. And he wanted the title to be something that no one else will have. So I made that title so he can type it into YouTube because he's older and it's hard for him to find things. It'll pop right up for him. But yeah, now I can just do it for him because I'm going to be there, but they don't know I'm going to be there. So it's a whole thing.
That's very, very cute.
Very, very cute.
So hashtag cut a rug if you're still
hashtag cut a rug.
Hashtag ruin Dan's Thanksgiving surprise.
Yeah.
No, but yes, if you want to watch that video, it's also up on our YouTube. I just put it there because it's easy for me to find later, and I'll probably take it down later. But it's up for Thanksgiving at least, so my parents can use it for their humor.
Love it.
Hashtag cut a rug. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Love you all. Bye.